Hello, my name is Krista Romig. I am a junior at Bloomsburg University and I am majoring in nursing. I chose the topic overpopulation because it is one of the most prevalent issues worldwide. Throughout this presentation, I will be discussing some of the problems associated with overpopulation. These problems include the loss of fresh water, species extinction, lowered life expectancy, depletion of natural resources, new epidemics and pandemics, accelerated habitat loss, global warming, and climate change. Intensive farming practices and higher crime rate and unemployment are also applicable. The first problem I will be discussing is the loss of fresh water. Overpopulation has destroyed most of the world's freshwater sources. Our freshwater sources are being destroyed by pollution or becoming unreachable due to the increase in buildings due to the increased population. This is a huge problem because as the population increases, the need for fresh water increases. However, the more the population increases, there's going to be an decrease in fresh water available for use. Currently, there is less than 1% of the world's fresh water available for human use, and that will continue to be affected as the population grows. It is expected that by 2025, more than half of the world will face water vulnerability. This issue also ties into the issues of species extinction, as it is expected that it will lead to extinction of many freshwater fish species. The next topic I will be discussing is species extinction. Humans are currently causing the greatest mass extinction of our species since the time of the dinosaurs. Our current rate of extinction is 1,000 to 10,000 times faster than normal. Therefore, it is expected that if overpopulation continues, at least half of all plant and animal species will be extinct within a few decades. This is due to aspects such as climate change, habitat loss, and pollution, which are all factors of human overpopulation. The next topic is lowered life expectancy. Due to overpopulation, developing countries will experience a decrease in length of life along with a decreased quality of life. This is based on issues with overpopulation such as decreased food and water availability, along with decreased housing available with the growing population. Next, I will be discussing depletion of natural resources. Fossil fuels, fresh water, arable land, coral reefs, and forests are all being depleted due to human overpopulation. The more the human population increases, the more our resources are decreased. This is placing stress on basic life-sustaining resources and is leading to a decreased quality of life. It is estimated that each human on Earth now requires a third more land for their needs than the Earth can supply. Another serious issue associated with human overpopulation is an increase in epidemics and pandemics. It is shown that an increase in human population is the number one cause of the increase in diseases. Human overpopulation also relates to the decrease of available resources, which leads to malnutrition of the population, which makes them more susceptible to these diseases. Overpopulation also leads to overcrowded living spaces, which can increase the transmission of these diseases. Human population increase is also responsible for accelerated habitat loss. Human overpopulation is one of the main reasons for the loss of rainforests, coral reefs, and Arctic ice. Rainforests used to cover 14% of the world and are currently only covering 6% of the world. It is expected that the remaining rainforests could be destroyed over the next 40 years. Currently, 30% of coral reefs have been destroyed due to our climate change and pollution. Our ice cover is being depleted at the rate of 11.5% per decade due to climate change. One of the most important issues associated with overpopulation is climate change and global warming. Global warming and climate change are related to an overabundance of greenhouse gases trapped in the atmosphere. The increase in greenhouse gases is due to the increase in population. Global warming is responsible for the Earth's ice caps melting, which will lead to a sea level rise. This sea level rise will reduce the land available for humans to inhabit and will lead to an increased overcrowded living spaces. Global warming is also responsible for the destruction of coral reefs, more intense hurricanes, flooding, and decreased food supply. In order to overcompensate for the decreased availability of food and increase of population, we have turned to increased farming practices. Intensive farming practices are used to create a larger abundance of food while cutting the cost. It helps to feed the growing population while working to save areas from being farmland. However, it depletes the soil while killing the insects and plants that the soil relies on. Human overpopulation is shown to lead to an increased crime rate and unemployment. As overpopulation caused an increased competition for necessities, there will become an increase in crime. Drug cartels and stealing in order to survive will become more prevalent as human overpopulation increases. In order to try and decrease human overpopulation, China created a policy stating that couples were limited to having one child in 1979. This policy is stated to have reduced human population growth in the first 20 years by approximately 300 million people. However, there were many ethical issues associated with this policy, such as mandatory abortions, decreased family rights, forced sterilization, and hefty fines if they did not comply with the policy. Obviously, China's one-child policy is not realistic for the rest of the world, but it is important to find a way to solve the problem of human overpopulation before the damage gets even worse. Some methods that may help decrease the severity of human overpopulation is teaching the public about birth control options while having available contraception options to the public. Another method of decreasing human overpopulation would be educating the public on the severity of human overpopulation and encouraging them to decrease the amount of children that they have.